Praise be to Jesus. Hello again, everyone. Charles with you here, and we have some new updates for you. Pope Francis told Cardinal Gerhard Mueller in 2013 to stop investigating abuse allegations against British Cardinal Cormac Murphy O'Connor, according to a highly placed Vatican source who spoke to Marco Tosati. Murphy O'Connor, as a member of the St. Gallen Mafia, played a pivotal role in getting Jorge Bergoglio elected in 2013. A source from England with inside knowledge of the case told LifeSite News that a woman alleges the cardinal had himself been involved in abusing her when she was 13 or 14 years old, and that she was the reason for the investigation by the Vatican's Congregation for the Doctrine of the Faith. Tosati and LifeSite News have worked together on this joint story for some weeks now. We have shared our findings with each other. And there's more to the article, obviously, if you want to read the particulars. The founder of the U.S. Catholic publishing house Ignatius Press has called for Pope Francis to answer Archbishop Vigano's allegations that he knowingly promoted an American cardinal accused of abusing seminarians and priests. Father Joseph Fessio, S.J., told CNN that he finds the pontiff's refusal to give an answer deplorable. In recent weeks, commentators have interpreted Pope Francis's homilies about the great accuser and Christ's silence as coded commentary on the Vatican's whistleblower's testimony and the pontiff's own reluctance to answer it. He's attacking Vigano and everyone who was asking for answers, Fessio told CNN. I just find that deplorable. Be a man, stand up and answer the questions, he added. Maryland's Attorney General is delving into confidential records of the Roman Catholic Church as part of an investigation into child sex abuse allegations in the Baltimore Archdiocese. In a Monday letter to Catholic clergy, Archbishop William Lori writes the Archdiocese was informed by Attorney General Brian Frosh of an investigation of records related to the sexual abuse of children. Unlike other U.S. states that have announced sweeping investigations into clergy sex abuse, Frosh's office will only say it doesn't confirm or deny the existence of any investigations. However, Frosh recently called for victims of abusers associated with a school or place of worship to come forward. Ryan Sattler, leader of the Catholic reformist group Call to Action Maryland, says it's time for the Archdiocese to be totally and painfully honest. Pope Francis addressed an ecumenical prayer meeting in the Lutheran Cathedral of Riga, Latvia, during his apostolic visit to the Baltic states on September 24th. According to RomeReports.com, he asked his audience to become, quote, weavers of unity in our cities, ensuring, quote again, that our differences don't turn into divisions. Well, the link will take you to his whole speech here. Again, he believes in. I'm going to try to be kind as I can here. He believes in a one world church. Of all faiths uniting. I mean, this goes back to his early days in 2013, when he was meeting even then with people of different religions and talking to them about unity, even though we have differences in beliefs. I mean, how you can make sense out of this? Well, there actually is a way of making sense out of this, and that's to like put Christ aside and you form a church based on secular humanitarianism. See, that's where this whole migration thing happens, with breaking down borders and having people taking refugees from other countries, and then over time they interbreed and they form this sort of homogenized sort of humanity. And that's exactly what the whole one world government and one world banking system, the one world religion, that's what all this is about, is just homogenizing everything and then putting it under the control of a handful of people. Of course, this one world religion wouldn't have Christ in it. The prophecy says that eventually. Well, not so eventually, even in a few years. Actually, prophecy says that um, probably by the end of his papacy, of course, prophecy changes as prayer and sacrifices are made. So, but at the time the prophecy was given, this pope would have declared, not only thrown Mary out of the church, but with some kind of kind words or something, but that he will eventually. Now, this Pope Francis, this pope will actually say that. Um, that the Eucharist is really just a sharing of bread, and Christ isn't really present. But I don't know if he's going to say Christ isn't present, but so according to the prophecy, Christ is saying that he would have left by this time. He would have left the Catholic Church. Um, and anyway, this is supposed to happen, in our lifetime. So if you live another 5 or 10 years, I don't know how long it'll be, but things are moving along pretty quickly here. So, so this whole one world church thing is all about, you know, um, like secular concerns, concerns for the poor, concerns for jobs, concerns for the environment. Um, and it's, you might say even at this point in time, you might say, oh, well, this is like ridiculous, I mean, this is never going to happen. But, I mean, look at what you thought, even 5 years ago, before this Pope even, took the helm. You never, you would have said then, oh, geez, you're kidding me, that would have never happened. Or, we wouldn't have cardinals and bishops, saying the kinds of things. Satan has an awful lot of power right now. A lot of people are doing his bidding, and there are people in very high places, not only in this church, throughout Christianity, throughout politics, throughout governments, throughout the banking systems. He's been working, Satan has been working at this for a very long time, and the pieces are starting to fall together for him. And it's not, nothing is going to get any easier, not at all. Everything's going to get harder and harder and harder. And there are going to be so many people who are lost to Christ. And you need to realize 153,000 people every day die. And I would think that the majority of those go to hell. Well, if it's half of them, it's like 75,000 people a day are going to hell. And I think it's more like about 135,000. I think it's more like 85 to 90% of the people. That's my own opinion. Um, I mean, Christ has got to stop this. Um, he's got to stop the bleeding. He's got to stop the loss of souls here, and as as the world and the people in the world grow further away from Christ, there are just going to be more and more people lost. Now, who's going to turn it around? We can't turn it around. The laity of the Catholic Church or even people can't turn it around. It's really, way out of our hands. Only God can turn this around, and He has no intentions of turning it around as far as what I believe. What His intentions are is that, all right, America, I've called you to repentance for many years, all right, and you won't listen to me, so now you're going to reap what you sow. In other words, things are going to get more and more difficult in this country. I'm not going to go into particulars. You can go look at, there are a lot of sites out there and a lot of YouTube channels where people talk about all sorts of things happening. I don't know what's going to happen or not, but I know things aren't going to get any easier. And then when people start, when their lives start falling apart and they become fearful, and really very afraid, very uncertain, very anxious. Um, this is the time when people will run to the churches. Look at what happened after the Twin Towers went down. You know, but then after a month or something like that, the churches were empty again. Well, this time, God isn't going to fix things for us. We're going to have to live in very difficult circumstances. And this is his way of calling people to him because they won't listen to him. Um, you know, and so, what is he going to do? God is concerned about your immortal soul. So what if you spend 10 years with pustules on your face and throwing up and, going hungry and, look at look at the seven seals of the book of Revelations. Not only a nuclear war is coming. The next one after that is starvation and pestilence. There's all kinds of things that are going to happen here. Now, I'm not telling you this to try to scare you. I'm telling you this because I believe this is what's right around the corner, and you need to prepare yourself. And the way to prepare yourself is to uproot your sin and become as holy as you possibly can and strengthen your relationship with Christ. Go to adoration as often as you can. Pray as much as you can. Because in these times, our faith is going to be shaken tremendously. And you have to understand what it is God is doing. Excuse me. That He's trying to save people. Okay? And if He's got to, have them sick and crying, and begging Him, if this is the only way, and God knows, He would know the way to save people. If this is what He's got to do, then this is what He's going to do. So Peter, someone just asked me, don't you have any good news? Well, I don't think there's a lot of good news these days, and it's not going to get any easier. And things are not just going to turn around by themselves. How in the world is that going to happen? It's not. You know, we all need to deal with reality here, and reality is what I just told you it is. Now, how bad it'll get, prayer and sacrifice can change a lot of things. So, you know, maybe the pestilence won't be 90% of the people. Maybe it'll just be 20% of the world population. Who knows? And on top of that, there are going to be things that will happen that we have no idea of. And what God's saying in prophecy right now is, I can't tell you these things because if I tell you, then Satan's going to find out. All right. So, um, there's really a lot going on. I don't mean to, put a big burden on you, but you need to, you know, you need to not think about like tomorrow, and you have to use every moment of your life to live in the will of God. Okay? There is your salvation right there. It's as simple as that. All right? Always, have the presence of God inside of you, and listen to where He's leading you. All right? And I mean, there are times and days in my life or moments in my life where I'm uncomfortable. I'm uncomfortable with what God's telling me to do. I mean, He wants me to quit smoking cigarettes, and I'm having a hard time. And it's like I wanted to go have a cigarette before I started, talking about the news here. But I know I need to stop, and I don't want to have to go cold turkey. So, I, I need to start cutting back, and I have, but. I've been smoking cigarettes for 57 years, so I'm not going to stop overnight, Um, and doing violence to yourself, it's really very upsetting. It's really difficult. And, but, we all have sin, and, we need to work on that and stay in touch with God constantly. All right. Well, and I just spoke for 12 minutes about one little paragraph I wrote. All right. Well, enjoy your day or evening, and we'll talk to you next time. Bye.